Can everybody hear me okay? How is everybody doing? Good, good, good. The energy's gone down. I can see some heads nodding during the last one. So one thing you'll find about me real quickly is I'm very, very passionate. I'm very, very opinionated. Those are two things that I consider strengths now that at one point in my life were weaknesses. And so what I want to give all of you, in essence, is something I normally only give someone who's on my team. And so there's a handful of them in the room that have gone through this before on some level. But today what I'm going to really give you is a small snippet of what I give someone when they're onboarding as a new agent. So I put them through what I call my boot camp. It's a 5-day event that's been scaled back to 3 and 4 and 5. I found the sweet spot is 3 days. There's so much information that you can smash into someone's head in a certain amount of time before they get overwhelmed and spin out. And so what I'm going to give you today is how to work at Turning 65 direct mail lead. So does everybody work Turning 65? Does everybody think they do a good job at it? If you get any action at all, you do a good job at it. Because the reality is there's enough pie for all of us in this room and then 10 more rooms just like it to go around. And so whatever state you're in, whatever county you're in, you should get a vibe off of what the market looks like, how many people are turning 65 in your area each month, each week. Break it down into areas, all that kind of stuff. Once you have an idea of the direction you want to go, then you can create a plan. And so the plan is what? So everybody can go through training. I can put you through my boot camp. 3 days of training. I teach you everything I know. What are you missing? Someone to see, right? The name of the game, how do you write 1,500 apps in a year? Well, you got to see at least 1,500 people, right? And so how do you do that? How do I do that? It's not leads, right? If I said it was leads, it would be a lie. It's a combination of a lot of things. I'm a fisherman. Does anybody else like to fish? I like to use analogies a lot when I'm doing stuff like this to help you connect concepts. So with fishing, if I were to go commercial fishing, what would the idea be? Anybody seen a commercial fisherman boat? What do? They run miles of cable with lines hanging off every like 2 inches to do what? Get as many lines in the water so they can catch as many fish as possible. So the idea behind what I do is I don't rely on one source. Too many agents I find, and I know, they find this honey hole, and they sit on the honey hole. I have this person on my team. Tyler does a great job. What did he say earlier today? I work exclusively. Okay? Does there anybody in this room want to work exclusively with referrals? I thought the same thing once upon a time. I thought the very same thing once upon a time. And so I'm going to go into the presentation, in essence, starting with what is a lead? And that is funny. The formatting on all the font got messed up on the transfer over, but that's okay. It was much larger, much probably like you guys would like. Good news is I have 2015 vision, so I can still read it. So hopefully you can too. So what is a lead? Anybody? Brian, what's a lead?
It's a name of an interested prospect.
Right. At the very basic level, it's an opportunity to talk to somebody who has some level of interest, right? That could be from, okay, send me something, to I need to sign up tomorrow. I have to leave on vacation in 1 hour, and everywhere in between. Every one of those is a lead. Yes or no? Okay? What I could tell you is I could hand everyone in this room the same lead, and we would all have different success with that lead. Why? What makes you different from the person sitting next to you? Because we all do the same thing, right? What makes me different than Brian, than you, than Tyler, than anybody else? How am I able to do 400 apps in non-AEP time? Well, I have a hyper-competitive drive. I don't like to lose, and I'm willing to put in whatever it takes to win. To me, winning is not selling. To me, it's not writing apps. To me, it's helping Mrs. Jones not stress about the doctor bill. To me, it's about helping Mr. Jones not stress about Mrs. Jones' doctor bill. It's the peace of mind. I named my agency Medicare Peace of Mind. Why? Everything that I do has a purpose. Everything that you do needs to have a purpose. What's the purpose? write more applications. So what's the best kind of lead? Tyler? Why? What makes a referral the best? They already know what you're coming in for. It's a warm lead. What's the real reason? Trust. So in a couple of slides here, I'm going to go over trust. To me, I train there's 5 pillars of trust. So paychecks. Did you know you get to pick your paycheck? Every client that you see, you have the opportunity to pick your paycheck. And I don't care if they're medi, dual, or the cajillionaire. 4 weeks ago, I was running a med sup lead. The guy in Colorado, there's a special thing going on right now. Anybody on Plan F can move to Plan G, no underwriting. Anybody else have that going on? We didn't know that was going to happen either. But it's a huge event going on. I went out, this guy's already been moved from F to G. I drove 2 hours to get to this guy's house out in the middle. I live in the middle of nowhere, Colorado, and I drove 2 hours to get to the farther middle of nowhere, closer to Kansas. What I found out was he'd already been moved. So in my mind, he says, I've already been moved. What's our natural inclination as an agent? Man, I need to go somewhere else. I got to get out of here. I'm not going to make any money here. And so I just started talking to the guy, right? And so then he goes, oh, what about dental and vision? The lowest paying product is the one you want, right? Of course. So I gave him dental and vision. Now he has dental and vision. Then through the conversation, 2 sentences later, he says, I just paid the tax man, IRS man, $200,000 for capital gains tax. What'd you sell? So he sold a bunch of land, right? That simple thing, I said, who's your financial advisor? Guess what he said? The bank. Anybody have a bank as their financial advisor? That's a really horrible idea. Long story short, this guy's got $2.5 million sitting in CDs. They all mature at the end of this year. So guess what I'm doing? I'm going to drive back in November, and I'm going to talk about a couple of things. Probably going to talk about a single premium whole life. I'm going to talk about annuities, a combination of different things to find more than 0.7% return he's getting. And so I chose that day, instead of getting up and saying, damn it, I lost, he's already been moved, I just kept talking to him. Right? And those conversations will lead to where you get to pick your paycheck. And now, in this case, if you sell, I don't know where he's at, is he still in here? What happens if you sell $1 million annuity? What's your paycheck like? Anybody just double their income? Right? So the opportunities are there, and the choice is yours. What I mean by that is when you get a lead, you choose whether it's a good lead or not. I've said it for years. You hand me a lead, you had someone else a lead. My mind says, I'm winning. Every one of you, whether you're brand new or not, should go into every lead that you call with one thing in mind. The person you're talking to is lucky. They're talking to you. Have you ever ran into somebody who got taken advantage of by the phone sales agent or the captive agent to the carrier or the whatever it was and they were sold? What's that? What's an opportunity when someone's been sold? It's an opportunity for us to be the hero. So it's one of the 1,000 things of why I love what I do. Oh, great, this is wonderful. So the good news is this slide is not that important. What it really says is there's basically 3 categories of self-generated activity, which in my world, I do self-generated activity, and then there's other means of activity. And so what I mean by that is, do I get leads? Yes. I generate leads all the time. Do I need leads? No. I can live off of referrals like Tyler if I wanted to. Now, I would write 1/3 of the business that I do, but who wants 500 apps a year in referrals? Because I could do nothing, and that's what I could get, right? But where do I get my leads from? So this is a freebie because it's about direct mail today. Financial advisors, plumbers, it's on here. You guys just can't see it. Churches, senior housing. My #1 referral source is financial planners. You're welcome. So all these financial planners, Edward Jones, Raymond James, you name it, they don't do Medicare. So what are they doing? Leaving their back door open to whatever his name is that says, I'll come take your client from you. I have the same mentality, by the way. If you leave your back door open, someone like me is going to come along and you'll be one of my 1,500 that I add. Your client will be my client. That's my mentality. If you didn't do the right thing. There has been 100 more times where I've walked into a house, another agent I do not know is already taking care of them. I will leave that alone and move on. If you carry yourself with that level of integrity at all times, the business will come to you. So, community resources, financial planners, food banks, senior housing, and churches are the 5 sources that I set up to get referrals from. It's not as easy as walking in and saying, hi, I'm your hero, send me your people. It's a relationship business. So whether you're working a lead for a client or working a lead for a financial planner, working a lead for a church, it's the same damn process. I do every single time. It's the same pitch. I'm just changing the verbiage a smidge to match my audience. So the pitch I give to someone with Medicare or Medicaid is slightly different than the pitch I would give someone turning 65. Slightly different than the pitch than someone's still working. Slightly different than, each pitch is a little bit different. Personalized. Anybody like personalized? Who's used to commercialized? Which is what our competition is. It's commercialized. Who's been in a home and seen the massive amount of mail that your client gets? What's the largest stack from what company? Every year, every time. 4 letters. Boom. Every time. Why? They have the largest wallet, and they don't pay taxes. If we had the same advantage, we would mail them the most stuff too. Why do they have to mail so much stuff? So if you do one drop, what do you think happens? 90% of them do what? Throw it away. Why? Because they don't trust you. Why? Because you send them a freaking postcard, you guys. Raise your hand if you've ever done a direct mail reply card. What was it for? How long ago?
It was last year, dual eligible.
Okay. You filled it out for yourself? To find out?
I sent it out.
No, what I mean is you've received a card in the mail for yourself. Buy a TV by filling out this postcard, send it back. Who's sent back a business reply card before? What was it for?
I called back. It was for a 3 card to load.
Sure.
I just moved.
Right?
They're like, call it this person, they want you to come to this customer.
Right. Right. So the point is, think of the psychological effect that your client has that you're mailing. Do they want to talk to an insurance person? It's not on the top 1,000 things to do today. Right? Even us in the insurance industry. Do you want to talk to an insurance person? That's the last thing we want to talk to, right? So you got to get them to trust you. How do you get them to trust you? It starts with what? Branding. So if anyone ever sees me, any picture you ever see me, if I'm out golfing with you, if we're at the movies, I don't care what it is, you see what you get. If it's summertime, I'm wearing probably flip-flops, shorts, I'm wearing my polo, I have 10 different colors. He has a black shirt on just like I got. Tara's got pink. I don't have any pink yet because I don't make linens in pink. There's blue, I have green, I have red. That way, whatever feeling I have, whatever motion I want to go with, whatever color coordination I want to do, I have it. I have watches that match. I have shoes that match. I have everything that matches. Why? Branding's important. Why is branding important? Does every successful company you know brand? Do you need to know when you see the Coca-Cola logo what they do? Do you have any question at all when you see the Coca-Cola logo what you're buying? You're buying a soda pop. Period. Okay? Same thing. I picked my company name very carefully. I do everything I do very carefully. If you saw my car, it looks like NASCAR. This emblem right here is the hood. The logos are down the side. The back windows got everything they need to know. Back bumper has my website. Why? People say, oh, that's a waste of money. You know what? I get 5 apps a year from that. It pays for itself. It costs me $450 to cover my whole car in logos. That's one sale, y'all. Can you do one sale? So how do I build trust? There's 5 pillars of trust. What are they? Somebody pick one and read it. Expertise. What does that mean? At what? What does that mean? It means you have all the information that I want to have, right? You have the information that I need. You're the expert, right? That's part 1 of being an expert. What's the next one? What does that mean? It means you say what you're going to say, and then you're going to do it exactly the way you said it. Do what you say you're going to do when you're going to say it. Under promise, over deliver. We've all heard the cliche 1,000 different ways, but it matters. Coach Burt, who a lot of people use, follow-up is important. It is important. It's everything, because that's how you build a relationship. If you think of every lead you're working as though you're starting a new relationship for the first time, this is my first date with the girl I want to marry, you're going to treat that lead much differently than, oh, it's just some name and number. So I go mentality into how am I going to build trust. Customer orientation, what does that mean? I have to ask all the right questions so that I can get to know my customer on the same level that I know my mom. That's my goal every time. And that's what I tell them. I'm going to treat you like my mom. But I got to get to know you like that. So what do I start with? What's the first question you think I ask when I'm doing fact finding? It's not, how old are you? What's your date of birth? I'll ask some random question like, what's your favorite hobby? Or what's your favorite color? Or what's your favorite something? Why? I got to get them to trust me. Do you trust a salesman? Say no, because you don't. None of you do. You hang up on them immediately. Right? Likability. Has anybody ever bought something from someone they didn't like that they had to? Never, never, never. The second someone rubs you the wrong way, what do? That's the only power you have left is fire him, right? You're fired. That's my only power I have left over you. So likability and then selling orientation. What does that mean? It means I have all the right products in my portfolio that no matter what you need, Mrs. Jones, I have it. My goal is to do what's right for you. How do I do that? I represent all the companies. I have zero bias to any of them, other than the bias of what's best for you. I point at it when I say that. What's best for you? And if I'm on the phone, I emphasize you. Why? Because that's what's important to me, is you. And you have to understand, if they don't trust you, if you don't have all 5 of these pillars built up to a level, think of trust like a tabletop. What happens if you put that tabletop on a table with 3.5 legs? At best, you have a wobbly table. Most likely, you have a tipped-over table, right? So what I mean by that, when you're testing the trust, how do you test the trust with the client? Well, this is how you test the trust. You ask for something that they don't want to do, like an appointment. You ask them for an application. That's where you're going to find out how much they trust you. If they trust you, what's the answer? Ding, ding, you're in. If they don't trust you, table falls over. Yes or no? Every single time. So, trust is the key. How do I turn a lead into an appointment or a sale or whatever it is? Each of you are going to have a different model of how you do this, right? I'm going to show you my way. You don't have to do it my way. My biggest recommendation for stuff like these events is you take pieces from everybody that make sense to you, incorporate them immediately, don't wait, immediately into what you're doing. Otherwise, you'll be caught thinking about it forever, and you'll never do anything different, and you'll never get the results you were looking for. You'll just get motivated for a day or two, the effect of the event will wear off, and you'll have no actionable steps to take. That's going to be the difference between my presentation and everybody else's, in my opinion. I'm going to give you the goods. Why? Where was I at 3 days ago, Matt? Where was I 3 days ago? I was in Colorado writing applications. Okay? So pretty much most days of my life, that's where you're going to find me. So when Dallas says, do I text him every day? I do. Why? I like to have my team and others involved. My team, I try to encourage them. When you make a sale, put it in our group chat. We want to celebrate those together. Why? This is a lonely business, you guys. Most of us are out there fighting the good fight. The first 3 years I've been in the field, I did it all from my house. Is that the same for everybody else? I've now opened an office, and I have a staff and stuff, because I've scaled to the point where I'm doing as much as one guy can do. I'm Dick Van Dyke and Mary Poppins, and I can only play so many instruments at once, right? I don't want to do that anymore. Because once you get to 1,500 plus clients, just my birthday calls alone, you guys, some days I have 20 of them to make, and I do them. I know they outsource them to girls in their office and all that stuff. I recommend you don't do that. You lose the personal touch. That's half the reason you're making the damn call in the first place, is to let them know you care. Not that front desk Susie cares. You care. I care. I care. It takes me 2 seconds to make a phone call. Well, I'm taking an hour drive from my commute from eastern Colorado into where the people are. I'm making phone calls. I'll call leads while I'm driving. I'll call clients while I'm driving. I waste 0 time while I'm working. If I have an appointment, I'm going to set up financial planners on the front side and banks on the back side. Half hour on each side, I'm going to go talk to at least one financial planner near that client. I'm going to go talk to one bank. That's the only way. Does anybody have time set aside in their calendar to do stuff? I do too much. I can't organize it that way. So trust is the key. Uh-oh. They made that really small. Okay. Is there anything we can do to, could I resend you the PowerPoint or anything? Next time, have them right-click and do keep source formatting when they paste it. That fixes it. So while we're waiting for that, I'll give you another bonus thing. So when you go into the financial planner, there's 2 things you want to do. Recognize they do not want to see you any more than you want to see them for the business purposes. So you got to come in there swinging heavy and hard, knowing exactly how they work, which is they have a back door wide open. So that's why I always focus on right away. Did you know someone like me, who doesn't have integrity, would come along and steal your client and all the money you have, thus removing your income? So you go in, pitch that, and then how do I solve that problem? My biggest ally, or the biggest reason I'm able to help a financial planner, is I help them uncover business that they're too lazy to uncover themselves. So during my fact-finding process, I'll uncover the long-term care, the life insurance, or whatever else, and I'll spin it right back to them. That's my return favor because I have 0 referrals to give back. I have none. I'm not giving you one damn Medicare referral back. If they need a fixed index annuity or any kind of product, I'm writing it. But if it's their client, I like to keep things even. So that's what I give them back is I help them uncover the long-term care. I help them uncover the life insurance. And once they get one of those, all you need is one. They get the taste of one, and now you've made them $5,000 or something off a nice big life insurance sale. They're going to send you every damn. Some of my financial advisors tomorrow morning. I'm going to be late to the thing because I have to do a webinar for 42 Edward Jones advisors on their monthly meeting. How do you get to that point? You take care of the first Edward Jones advisor correctly. Over time, he'll start to tell his other friends in Edward Jones about you. Over time, you'll run into the regional director and have an opportunity like that. So back to the task, now that we can read it. So how do I build trust? I'm going to state 3 basic facts that most people just assume their client knows, which they do, but it builds trust by you telling them. So Medicare is confusing. Anybody agree with that? So I'm going to immediately stir the pot. You're confused, and you're going to get more confused. You need me. I'm building in you need me immediately. They don't know it, right? Second thing, Medicare does what? It's an amoeba. Think of it as a floating cloud that's changing shape at all times. It might rain, it might not, or whatever. So there's always changing. And then my biggest thing I say, there's no perfect company, no perfect plan. There's strengths and weaknesses to each option. I built my entire business off of that model. I don't have a favorite company. I literally don't. My favorite company is whatever's best for the client, that one client. And in many households, I have people on different plans, different plan types, because that's what's right for the client. Help them understand what my role is and help them understand the basic parts of A, B, C, and D. You've got to demonstrate that you have the knowledge they want. Why? Because you've got to have that expertise pillar of trust built in, or they will not trust you. If they don't think you have the information that they need, they're not going to go past step 1, which step 1 is the first contact. So again, this is there twice, but that's in essence the most important thing. I want to make this easy, simple, and smooth for you. Those are magic music to their ears. That's exactly what they're looking for. So I'm going to make it easy, simple, and smooth. So how do you do that? You explain how you're going to do it. So has anybody ever been asked, how much does it cost for your services? Yes. Happens to me like daily, 10 times a day. So that's the first thing I'm going to explain to them. I'm going to use another professional, and depending on the client I'm visiting with, it's going to depend. So when I get a lead back, what's the first thing you think I do? No, research. What do I research? What's the first thing I pull up? I pull up a Google Maps and I put their address in. I want to look at their house. I want to look at their neighborhood. I want to look where they live. I want to see where they live. I want to zoom in and drop my little man on so I can look at the street level. Do they have a kid's bike in the car in the driveway? Anything I can get. Why? When I talk to them, I want them to think that they know me for their whole life. I want to be on a first-name basis with them. I want them to think, Dink, where'd you come from? How'd you know all this stuff? I take my time to do the research first. Because I spend a lot of money generating leads. Anybody do that? So to me, the most I can get out of that lead, the better. So I'm doing research first. I'm going to definitely check it out. And so I use doctor or plumber. Those are the two professionals I use. Whether I use doctor or plumber depends on, in essence, their affluency. If they're a hardworking person, I can tell they're living a hardworking type of category. Or if I look on LinkedIn or any other place, I'm going to do a LinkedIn search, I'm going to do a Google search, I'm going to do a Facebook search on every single person. Because I want to find out, if I can, what industry were they in? What did they do? What hobbies do they have? You'd be amazed what you can find. So then you go into the phone call 10 times more prepared than you ever have been in your life. And trust me, that advantage gives you a confidence they can't shake. 4 times in my career, I've had the phone answered with F you. The first 2 times, I just hung up, panicked. The last 2 times became my client. So just think about it. I went from F you to my client. How do you do that? You got to have that unshakable confidence going into it, knowing everything you know about the guy. This poor guy, I could just tell you, lived a rough life. He's probably having a bad day. So you got to remember that. You might have just called this person when they just found out their cat died last night or something. Might be the worst day of their life. You don't know. So give them a little compassion. I know it's hard because we're on the phone. Everyone gets that feeling when someone pushes back. He's like, F you too, and you want to hang up and throw the phone, kick the cat, whatever it is. Right? We all get that anger. But rechannel it. Someone hangs up, and what's the first thing you do? Call them right back. I'm sorry, my phone is so bad on the service, it dropped the call. If they tell you bye again, make them tell you go away. Because hanging up's not go away. Hanging's up, I can't handle the tension of the moment. That's all it's saying. Doesn't mean they don't want you. Doesn't mean they don't need you. It just means emotionally that they might not have the capability to deal with it right now. Because again, who wakes up wanting to talk to an insurance guy or girl? Nobody. So we're building trust. I'm like your doctor. So what you do when you doctor, how do you explain a doctor? If you're telling somebody for the first time the concept of what a doctor is, how do you explain it? Okay, they're going to help you by doing what? They're going to ask you some questions. You're going to go, my knee hurts. They don't just say, okay, here's the prescription. They say, okay, let's test it, let's move it, let's do an x-ray, let's do this, that, until they have enough information to make a diagnosis. True or false? Okay? So once you've got enough information, I explain it that. The difference between a doctor and me is what? You don't pay me anything. So I'm the only free professional you can hire, for the most part. Most professionals cost you cash out of your pocket at some point. We have a unique opportunity to offer expert-level professional services for 0 cost. How can you not sell yourself for 0, you guys? So go in with that mentality. I'm free, and you're lucky to talk to me. That's how you build trust. Because if you ever walked into a doctor's office to a new doctor, you just got out of medical school, that was my last doctor. The most shaky, worst, bedside-mannered kid you ever seen in your life. But he's a good doctor, right? So he has to learn through those things. Same thing, if you're new and you're rough, you've got to acknowledge these weaknesses. And you've got to go into it with the confidence of knowing that they can't bite you. So if you don't have the confidence, what are you missing? Which pillar of trust are you missing if you don't have confidence? Expertise, because if you had the expertise, there's no question you can ask me that I'm worried about. Does any of you think you could stump me with a Medicare question? I would challenge you. You're going to have to look something up. I know none of you have it in your head. I guarantee it. I guarantee it. $148.50. What's the max payout penalty for the IRMA penalty on Part B? That's the numbers you need to memorize. So, plumber. I'm going to switch to plumber. Go ahead.
I just got this from a customer. Do you have a company that covers marijuana prescriptions?
Not yet. Wait, meth? Never. Marijuana's coming. If you guys don't think it is, it is. I live in a state where it's spearheaded. Okay? If you need marijuana, come on over. So, What we want to do is plumber, same thing. When you hire a plumber or a doctor, I'll use plumber again. Let's say your main drain is backed up and your basement has 2 inches of crappy water in it. Do you want the plumber to just come over and fix it and get the hell out of there? Or do you want the plumber to come over, hand you a hard hat, a tool belt, take you downstairs and teach you how to do plumbing? Same thing with a doctor. Do you want them to take you back in the room? Here's the medical school book, read this, and then you tell me what your diagnosis is? No. 99% of your clients don't want to be a Medicare expert either. Most of you run around thinking that. They don't want to be educated to the point where they're an expert. They want to be educated to the point where they know you're the expert. That's the big difference. Once you find out that you're the expert, everything switches because the confidence is there. When you walk into a confident professional, you don't ask them. Top professionals, you don't have to ask, are you a professional? You just know. From the very first word out of their mouth. So fact-finding to me is the most important thing you can do. The sooner you can do it and the more complete it is, the farther ahead you are. Fact-finding tells you exactly what they need, how to present it to them, and what not to say. If you have the right fact-finding sheet. Ask all the right questions, right? And so I have some people say, oh, he didn't want to go through fact-finding. Well, then like the plumber would say, call a plumber right now, any of you, I challenge you. Call a plumber right now, tell me you have a backed up main drain and you want the price in advance. See what they say. They'll tell you to take a floater with the rest of the stuff floating in the basement. Guaranteed. Why? Because they can't predict things till they know what's going on. They have to see the problem before they can diagnose it. Same thing with you. Don't let someone put you in a position to give them a quote before you have all the information you need to make the correct recommendation. Otherwise, you might end up making a recommendation that was wrong. And then who looks like egg on the face? You, when it wasn't your fault. Well, it is because you didn't do fact-finding, right? So, fact-finding is a science. Why do I say it's a science? Because I could take my fact finder, hand it to my 4-year-old daughter, and she could ask you all the questions. It would probably be really cute, and it'd probably be going all over the place, but she could ask you the questions. The art part is being able to interpret the facts into what am I supposed to give my client so that they're happy. They live with peace of mind. So how do I do that? It's all about how they feel. So again, I'll ask Cody, who's your doctor?
Dr. Oakley.
Do you like Dr. Oakley?
Yeah.
You see the difference? Most insurance agents stop at, who's your doctor? Now I find out, do you like him? Why is that important? Because I got to know if Dr. Oakley is important in the variable of whether I'm picking a plan or not. If Cody said, no, I just saw him once, I don't even care, then I'm not going to have a primary care doctor as part of my decision-making process. Don't just assume they want to keep their doctor. Not everyone has been seeing the same doctor for 50 years and loves them. That's just the reality of it, okay? Doctors retire, all that kind of stuff. So we want to find the feeling, why is that important? And I'll go over that in a sec. But the questions. If you're not practicing asking the right questions, you're never going to get the right answers. It's just the way it works. You've got to ask the right questions. So what are the right questions? I will make sure that somebody on the SIG team emails everybody a copy of my fact finder. It's nothing fancy. It's the basic stuff you probably already asked. But again, it's not the facts, it's the feeling behind the facts. Because I can guarantee you someone that's had a history of cancer is going to look at cancer exposure differently than someone who hasn't. Everyone has a different story. Everyone's lived a different life. And so that's where you have to find. You have to dig down to the feeling underneath the fact. So empathy. Again, you've heard a lot about stories today and all that kind of stuff. My feeling on it is, if you don't have your own story to tell, borrow someone else's. So the second you hear somebody say, this is what I say for it to work, my magic phrase to sell any ancillary product is, this is what I do for my mom. But I don't lie about that. Same thing. Does anybody here have a critical illness policy on themselves? Not enough hands are up. How can you look someone in the eye and tell them to buy something you won't believe in yourself? Okay? And if there's a reason you don't have it, you tell them that. That's just 90% of my sales are done by my mom, and she doesn't know it. It's the fact. If she only knew. So again, once I understand the feelings behind the facts, I can then begin to create a direction. I don't mention company or product type until it's time. Because what's my goal on the first call? How many people do first call closes all the time? I don't. I consider it a freaking lucky scratch ticket when I get them. 9 out of 10 of them are a pain in the butt and you got to work your way to it. So that's what I planned for on every single one. And what I'm going to give you is the plan for, how much do I have left so I can keep on track? 20? Okay. I got to speed it up then, because I'm not even into the good stuff yet, you guys. I knew an hour, I knew it wasn't going to be enough. Point of pain and pleasure. Does everybody understand that you make every decision you make in life based off of point of pain or point of pleasure? Has anybody ever heard that before? So that's why I say when I'm doing fact finding, I'm looking for the feelings. Why? I need the points of pain. I need to know where to push. Short. You touch points of pain, you push on points of pleasure. So once I identify, oh, your wife had cancer 10 years ago. I'm going to touch on that. Remember how your wife had cancer 10 years ago? Oh, by the way, don't worry, we're going to build it in where, because it was 10 years ago, she can get underwritten, yada, yada, yada. She's going to have protection for cancer insurance. I'm going to really push on the point of pleasure. We're going to fix that point of pain. Everything that you're doing, you're going to push on a point of pain and then hold on the point of pleasure. If you're not doing it that way, you're not selling as much as you could. So how does, I'm going way too fast now. How does the engine work? And on my version, this thing spins. So I don't know what you guys did to it. You broke my engine. So anyways, what does it start with? If you're brand new, it's going to start with leads or activity. You're either using money, equity, or using sweat equity to get yourself going, to get your engine started. Once the engine's started, though, if you do good sales, and you do good fact finding, you get more apps, and then you do the customer service on the backside, you're going to get more referrals. And over time, it's an engine that keeps running by itself. You don't need to put gas in anymore, unless you want to. And that's the cool thing about our business, and why I like the engine mentality, is we have the ability to push on the gas or let go anytime. If we want to take a 3-week vacation, just let off the gas for a little bit and slow the pipeline down a little bit. Take your vacation. Then push back on the gas when you get back on. You can ramp things back up and get going again. But keep control. Anybody ever had too many leads to work? That's a genuine question. I have. Like, Dan, I can't, there's no way I can work all these things. Anybody had not enough? That's the more common one usually. So I like to have a good mix of business when I'm writing business. The holy grail to me is turning 65. Because turning 65 offers me the most opportunity for high retention and crossover sales. I like to think I don't miss opportunities. I'm mining out every opportunity. If there's dental to be sold, I'm selling. I don't care if it's $2 a month commission, I'm selling it. If there's critical illness to be found, I'm going to find it. If there's hospital and dental to be found, I'm going to find it. If there's life insurance, I'm going to find it. Where do I find most of that? The turning 65 market. So I spend a lot of my time there. Now I've gotten this far into my model. Most of my lead work is all on turning 65, except for when I'm teaching new agents. If you're new in the business, you want to start with final expense and low income. It's your lowest lying fruit, and it allows you year-round opportunity. The pitch to low income is the same as I'm going to show you for turning 65. You're just amplifying and speeding it up to a one-call process. With turning 65, you want to think of it as a romance. This is not a first date gig. This is a long-term commitment to the relationship. Most of us, who does turning 65 drops? How many months out are you mailing? 12? 3.5? Anybody else? Depends on the time of year I'm in and what I do. This time of year I'll do 6 months because I'm going to try to go through the end of December. I don't want to cross over into January because I don't want to spend my AEP time on January people. I want to spend my end of December time on January people. So this time of year I would do 6 months. Sometimes the year I'll do 12 months, somewhere between 6 and 12 months. But long story short, I'm almost always talking to them 3 or more months before their window opens up for IEP. So most of the time you can't do anything anyway. What you want to be there is first, and you want to build up trust first. That's the 2 keys. So over time, you should have some type of spread. If you put all of your eggs in the turning 65 basket, what happens if that basket falls out on you? Which is the reason why people go, why do you still work leads? What happens if one of my financial advisors dies or something? I don't know what's going to happen to my referral sources. So to me, my referral sources are my frosting on the cake, and the leads, I continue to work like I need them so that I have the cake. So you've got to have good content. If you don't have value to hand somebody, and everybody got an envelope from me, go ahead and open it up because these pieces are in there. In essence, the envelope you got has a fish sticker on the outside of it, and I'll go over why that's important too. But this is a very basic example of what I'm going to mail to somebody, whether I've talked to them or not. If I've talked to them, the letter changes a little bit on the verbiage. Okay? But what's the first thing you notice when you open it? Colorful, right? Use color. If you're going to print in black and white, then don't do any darn color designs. Just do black and white designs. What's not in there? Of course it's not. Why would it be? Okay? That's what I get for, I asked my assistant to put these together for me, so everyone will have to get one on the backside. What is in there, I guess? Is it the 2 cards and the letter then? Okay. Those are important pieces too. This, just 1 in yours? Okay. We got more back there, don't we? We should have leftovers. See if there's one with 2 in it. But this piece is what I call my Turning 65 Medicare Maze Planning Guide. What this is I spent a weekend going through the Medicare and You. Back then it was like 2015 or 14. I don't know what year it was when I started this thing. But I went through that book, because has anybody ever read that damn thing? Man, it's what I would call Ambien replacement. If you want to go to sleep, read half a page and you're done. I don't care what you're doing. It's not a good read. There's no pictures. There's no connection to tell the client, this is how it applies to you, right? And so what I try to do is take all the important stuff that I could and fit onto one piece of paper, front and back, because this is a trifold brochure. So the outside of it has my basic information, my picture, my company logo, all that kind of stuff. It explains what we do. The back side, it has the window, 3 months before, the month of, the 3 months after. It tells about what Part A costs are if you don't have the 40 quarters. And then it talks about the Part B costs, has the IRMA chart in it, also has the Part D LIS information in it. That's just one side. Now we go to the inside. And I have Part A, B, a Med Sup, and a D, or Med Advantage. And here's what I'll tell you guys. If you really want, I will send this file in PDF that they can send out. Only thing I ask is you don't copy it exactly. You can copy all the content. You can copy whatever you want. Just don't copy the layout and how it looks. Make it your own. Use the information. The information's all there. I also have, if I've talked to somebody, I'll have a different version of it called the booklet. The booklet fits in a size A9 envelope, which is a half sheet. The booklet is 16 pages, front to back. It goes into a lot more graphical detail, has a couple of extra pages in there, one with some reviews from some of my clients, my Better Business Bureau rating. If you go to the BBB of Colorado and look up Medicare Peace of Mind, you're going to find I'm the top-rated insurance agency in Colorado. I ask for more referrals than insurance companies do, as far as ratings and reviews go. How do I do that? I partner with the BBB, Better Business Bureau. You become accredited. It costs you money. You have to agree to be on your honor as far as integrity goes. You hold the higher standards of ethics. You pay the money every year, and then you're accredited. And then you can pay an extra $150 a month for this program. I just put the name and email and text and phone number in. It sends a text and an email out to them asking for a referral. But I have like 70 five-star reviews in 3 years. So it's not all of my clients, right? But when I can send someone to Better Business Bureau and they're reading review after review after review of them explaining exactly what that person's situation is and what exactly they want to happen, they hear it from someone else. Why do I like the BBB? It has credibility. Why? Because they verify it's a real person who had a real interaction with the business. Raise your hand if you've ever left a Google review for one of your friends' businesses. To me, there's no damn credibility in the Google review. So do I have perfect star rating on Google and Facebook too? Yes, but I have 5 times as many reviews on BBB than I do on Google or anything else. If you Google Medicare Peace of Mind, one of the top performing things is my BBB profile. I'd rather them go there than my website, to be honest. So I have the content. I have a card for every agent on my team. It has a message from me. They've been trained personally by me. That way, if you're new, you can rely on the credibility of who's training you. Because if you're new in the business, what's your biggest fear? Who's new? Come on. What's your biggest fear when you're talking to a client?
Someone not knowing who I am or rejecting something else.
That's part of it. I would argue it's being asked a question you don't have the answer to. Right? That stops us from talking about life insurance. That stops a good agent from talking about dental because they just don't understand how dental works. Life insurance. People say it's so damn... Here's the real simple, you guys. How does life insurance pay? Is everybody going to die? Okay, let's find the right kind of life insurance for you. It's the easiest product to understand. You don't need to know the moving parts of term and universal life and all that. Why? Because you have resources in your upline that you just hand them what the information is, and they'll give you what to sell. So, this piece is my favorite piece. It's called my 4 Steps to Medicare Peace of Mind. It's not in the envelope either, of course. That's the most important piece. However, what this does is an assumptive close. Does everybody know what assumptive close is? It means that I'm assuming that I'm your agent before we even meet. So what is the number one thing that people don't know when they're turning 65? Everything. What to do, where to go, how to do it. They don't even know if they have to sign up or not. Most people think it's automatic. So there's a lot of misinformation up front. So what this piece of paper is I'm putting in step 1. What does it say? What does it say? Advisor, review, and research. Who's the advisor? Me. What am I going to do? Fact-finding. When are we going to do it? First. What's step 2? Sign up for Medicare. What's the only situation someone automatically gets Medicare? If they're collecting any kind of Social Security. If they're getting SSI, SSDI, anything like that, they're already in the system. Their card, does everybody know when the card comes? 2 weeks before the window opens. So those ones you can get the ball rolling quicker on. You just can't submit the app till the 1st. So what's the 3rd step? Writing the app. In essence, I'm using lots of fancy words saying, I'm going to use all the information you gave me and my expertise to narrow down the options from this memory to 1. People say narrow it down to 3 options. 1. There is only one choice, the right choice. Right? If you end up with more than one option, what are you doing again? You're back to selling again instead of advising. Your doctor, generally speaking, unless there's 2 options that are very close, that's the only exception, your doctor usually has 1 recommended course of action. Same thing with the plumber, unless cost is a barrier. So then I have a letter, and the letter's pretty straightforward. It's basically thanks for sending back the card. I have the copy of the card in case they try to say they forgot to send it back. That's number 1 objection. What card? I don't mail cards back to myself, I promise. So then you're going to go through, I'm going to tell them about the IEP. I'm going to tell them that if they are collecting Social Security, they should get their card in February. This person was turning 65 in June. Okay? And so at the end of it, I'm also going to put in some of the products that you are eligible for, you're in a guarantee issue window for. Does anybody sell a GTL or a Heartland Financial Hospital Indemnity that has a guarantee issue within 6 months of turning 65? Do they know that? Should they know that? Why? Because they need the product and you want to get paid. That's why, right? So there's a need. So now, this is a typical lead card. Whatever, I don't care what company you use. This is the kind of information you're going to get back. Who's turning 65, usually is your card filled out. I would say 90% of my cards come back filled out. And 10% come back blank. Is the blank card a dead lead? No, those are the ones I door knock. The other ones I don't, because I don't want to blow up the lead. Some people hate door knocking. If you go to door knock and it says no soliciting, run. Because you're going the wrong direction to build trust. Because you violated their first request, which is don't sell me stuff. And you knock on their door anyway. So how am I going to work a lead? Oh, good, this is large font. Can we blow that up real quick? In essence, I already know the first point. What's the first thing you say when you call a lead? You know the answer, you cheater. If you've been through my training before, you can't answer. So first I verify I'm talking to who I need to talk to. Is this Les? Yes? How are you, Les? I don't say my name, I don't say nothing else. Why do I say how are you? Is there anybody who attended a sales class that says don't do that? Let me tell you why I say you should do that. I want to know the personality of the person I'm talking to. I want to know what mood they're in. I want to know how they talk. I want to know any other clues I can get. So I need some time to listen. I'm listening for dogs barking. I'm listening for grandkids laughing. I'm listening for the TV show that's on in the background. I'm listening for the same clues that I'm watching for when I'm looking at Google Maps. I want to know how they live. I want to know everything I can about them so that I can connect with them on an individual personal level. The level that I connect with them on determines how successful the lead is. So if I don't go through and verify that, how are you, tells me exactly how to go. If they say, I'm fine, then I'm going to adjust things to be quick and short. They say, I'm great, sweetheart, thanks for asking, how are you today? I'm going to take the long route. I'm going to start to get to know her. So, I'm great, how are you? Until she asks me what? Or he. No. What am I waiting for? Why are you calling me? Thank you for inviting me to sell you something. That's the key trigger, because now they've painted themselves in a corner where now you're allowed to talk to them. They can't hang up on you. They asked for it. Right? So, how are you? Now I'm going to verify all the facts. Look at the card. Okay, I got the card back. I'm looking at your handwriting. Again, I want them to remember filling out the card. So I've got to paint a picture in their mind that I'm looking at their handwriting. So I'm looking, again, when I'm doing the research on the clue, I'm going to be looking at this very carefully. The thing that jumps out right away is that L. You put a little curve on your L. Right? Anything I can do to connect them to where they can't say what? I didn't send back the card, because that's the number one objection. So I'm getting rid of that right up front. There is no I didn't get the card, because I'm looking at the damn thing. Okay? And I've said that to people. I promise I don't send these back to myself, especially not filled out. Uh-oh, 5 minutes. I got to hustle. Fact finding. So now I'm going to go into fact finding. I got to do the whole fact finding if possible, because then I can do what? Set an appointment. Once I have the whole fact finding done, I'm setting the appointment every time. I don't care if it's early. If they're turning 65 in September and the window doesn't open until June and I talk to them today, I'm going over there next week. Do not give them a chance to answer the phone call to some other smooth-talking sales guy over the phone and steal them, because they will. There's a lot of good salespeople out there on the phone. There's probably a couple of them in here, I would bet. So, again, we're going to emphasize those 4 facts. Medicare is confusing. You're not the only one. I'm local. If you're local to the lead you're working, emphasize that. Why? What does that mean to them? They don't know. That means I know the hospitals. That means I know the doctors. It means I know the networks. I know what plans take what. I'm not guessing. I'm not Googling. Say that. So if you have a call center person in Tennessee, they're going to have to Google and guess, because they don't know what hospitals are around. They don't know how things work. So emphasize that you understand the local market. So now we're going to schedule fact finding. So let's say I'm really busy. I don't have time to talk to you. Fine, that's great. Set an appointment for the fact finding. Don't let them off the phone without setting an appointment. Or guess what? You'll never talk to them again. Period. So get an appointment. I don't care if it's a phone appointment, in-person appointment, texting appointment, whatever it is, get the appointment for the next step. Wherever they stop you in the process, you've got to get back on track at the same spot. If you try to skip it, the whole process doesn't work. It works as an entire process, not as individual events. So, we get the fact finder done. We fill out our timeline based on when they're turning 65. So we put in what day they're supposed to do this and do that. Basically, I do this ASAP for when they talk to me for fact finding. For the date when they sign up for Medicare, if they're a September 1st birthday or September birthday, I'm going to immediately put them, I'm going to immediately put this for June 1st. Just do it the first day. Don't give the government any time to screw it up. Do it right away. Okay? Then I'm going to stuff this envelope with value. I'm either going to mail it or drop it off. If it's a lead where I'm going to be in the area in the next couple of days, I'll save myself the stamp, and I'll take a wild chance they're there. I'm not going to try to get into the house even if they're there. I will hand it to them personally, smile, and walk away. Unless they stop me. Then you turn around and go back in. So, the next step is to call them to make sure they got the information. You're going to go front to back over what's in the envelope with them. Ideally, when I send it out, I tell them not to open it until we talk again. Why? Because I want to be able to explain each piece. If I wasn't here to explain it to them, they aren't exactly easy to understand. Third step, do your appointment. Show up early. Bring paper and electronic applications. Bring ancillary stuff that's compliant with your scope. So on my same appointment, I'm always pitching hospital indemnity, and I'll always pitch critical illness from Washington National because it's built on a health chassis and you can do that compliantly. And if they want it, then I'll switch gears and I'll do it 2 days later on something else. But while I'm doing fact finding, if I found a nugget for life insurance, that's on my oh by the way appointment. I'm probably one of the only agents that writes as many apps as I do that goes back on an in-force appointment with every client. So once the policy starts, I'm either back in their house or on the phone with them after it starts to give them an orientation. This is how you use the benefits. We help set up mail order if they need mail order. I help them show how to use over-the-counter products, all that kind of stuff. And this is where I'm asking for referrals at the same time. And so you want to put yourself in a position where you're asking the right questions, sending valuable information with the intention to get one thing in front of them. That is your big goal in this business. I always send a reminder card if I'm setting an appointment more than 5 days in advance. So if I talk to them today and I'm doing an appointment next week, I'm absolutely going to send a reminder postcard for that appointment. It gives them an opportunity to see my company logo, gives them an opportunity to see my handwriting, all that good stuff. So when I'm in the last appointment, I'm doing how you set up the plan. I'm going over the benefits one more time, top to bottom. I'm showing them where the hospital indemnity fills in the gaps. And then I'm also going to say, oh, by the way, everybody ever heard of the Colombo approach? One more thing. I'm too young to know that, but I know it. But what basically you say is, oh, by the way, you remember we were talking about life insurance or this, that, whatever those gold nuggets you've uncovered in fact finding, you have another opportunity to get the sale for that other piece. So when I'm doing final expense, it's always on the in-force appointment. So I'm closing my back door and opening another front door to another product at the same time. And so, sorry I had to go through quickly the last few slides on that, but hopefully I'll get to do another one of these for you guys sometime soon. Yes, question?
Where's the best place to get 65?
Direct mail. Or, I've used several different vendors. I like Lead Concepts, I like Kramer Direct, but basically anybody where you can, the key to me is buying a duplicate copy of your list. Down the road, stay tuned, I'll try to get out some other stuff. I take the same Turning 65 list, I do the drop and I get 1-2% like everybody else, but then I do another drop with a few different things. I do birthday cards. So what you can do with the same list is buy bulk birthday cards from wherever, hundreds of them, because you're going to buy hundreds of them because you're going to mail them. But I'll wait until someone's 1.5 to 2 months away from their window ending, and I'm going to send them a last-ditch effort where I send them a birthday card, and in that birthday card, it has basically the same pitch that's everything else, but with that birthday card initiative, I usually get an extra 1 to 2%. And then I do 2 other initiatives where when I'm done with a list, the same mail list, I'll usually get between 8 and 10% off that list with 4 different initiatives. So, any other questions? Say that one more time.
What are the 4 initiatives? Your letter?
So I have the letters, I have the birthday cards, I have my assistant Jackie call any of them with a phone number to try to set an appointment. And then I do the seminars now. I'm adding those back in. I've done those in the past, but since realigning with SIG and seeing the success they're having, I already have a PowerPoint, which I think we're going to intermingle, and I think we'll be able to come up with something really neat. What's that? Oh. So yeah, it's not as complicated as you think it is. What you want to do, if you take everything from today, find a way to create valuable, visually attractive content. Because I can tell you, half the time that I'll get a sale, they'll tell me it was because of either the letter I sent, it'll be because of the birthday card. Those personal touches count. With every direct mail piece that I'm sending out myself, so the birthday cards and everything else that I do, I also have another relationship letter where I'm looking after the IEP is over. I'll also send letters out trying to get hospital indemnity and other stuff in case they went with somebody else. But every letter that you do that way, if you're a one-man show, you got to do it yourself. But handwriting on the envelope increases the chance of that thing being open by, I don't know what the percentage is, but it's huge. So taking the time to do handwriting counts. Yes, I think we have one more time. Year-round opportunity leads are your low income and final expense. I really love to spend my time on low income in the first quarter of the year because you can get people that are on Medicare, Medicaid, and a drug card only, you get the full true-up prorated. One more, and I got to get off here. What's that? Oh, the fish, excuse me. So every envelope that I go out of my house, before I mail it, I tell them what to look for. So I know their mailbox looks like this. So I tell them, for me, I love fishing. So I have 1,000 fish stickers in my office. Everything that goes out has a fish sticker on it. Almost becomes like a second logo where they're looking for the fish. So whatever it is, find a star, find a rainbow, whatever it is that you like, get it and buy 1,000 of those stickers and start putting it on every single piece you send out. It'll increase the rate of them being open because they'll be able to notice them.